Let's do this. Hello, friends. Sorry about the mix-up. I was just figuring out how all of these settings work. Hello, everybody. This is the countdown stream for, November 1st, 2018. We're already in November. Woo! Yeah, so, big stuff, big stuff, big stuff. Today is a couple things I gotta mention. Today's video is my last in the weekly Step Back videos. If anybody doesn't know, okay, now the girl that's been noticed. We haven't seen you in a while. At least I haven't noticed you in a while. Have you been hiding? You've been holding out on us? Michael Kirscher's here. Waldo Ooga Booga 255 AD, Radical Reviewer, the lover of all souls who seems really excited. And our resident tabby cat, Horace here. All right. All right. And we already got questions before I even went live. Yeesh, you guys are fast. For the people who say that they don't like that I don't do streams for Europeans, it's the middle of the afternoon right now, and I'm here, so, you know, appreciate. So, so for anybody who it's their first time here, in the hour before a new Step Back video comes out, I hang out with the audience, answer some questions, have a chat, and then at the end of it all, a new video is live, and good stuff comes out, and everyone can see it. And yes, I will get to that. I'll get that to that girl that has been noticed. And so let's get to that. So yes, I have made some decisions about how Step Back is going to function starting this week, or starting next week. I guess starting in an hour. So there's going to be always weekly content on Step Back, so don't worry about that. The Quick Step series that usually now releases on Saturdays is moving to Thursdays at this time. So this countdown stream I do every week is not going anywhere. It's just going to be a countdown to a Quick Step video that comes out every Thursday at 2 p.m. Because I started making Quick Step videos again about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and people have been really, really liking them. So they're going to stick around. I'm going to focus on using something that's going on in the news today to talk a bit off the cuff about historical literacy and how we got to where we are. That's going to be the plan. Those will be fun. Those are quick things that I can do. And then on top of that, I'm going to make I'm going to be doing my Tuesday night streams. That's not changing at all. So we're good on that front. Here's what is changing, friends, is that the regular Step Back videos, like the one that's coming out at 2 o'clock, those are going to be in response to feedback and sort of in response to changes to the YouTube algorithm and in response to sort of the demands of my life and the demands that people in the space that I occupy are asking for, or who are getting success with, and what's being asked for. That my main Step Back videos are not going to be these weekly videos anymore. What I'm going to do with the regular Step Back videos is I'm going to release them on a slower schedule. In my mind, I'm releasing them when they're done. That's my plan. And I want the new Step Back videos, when they come out, to be longer, higher produced, better researched, and just overall better products, to make something the best that I believe it can be in order to show off, to kind of elevate the format. And so expect fewer of the regular Step Back videos, but they will be better. But there will still be Quick Steps around every week. There will still be weekly Step Back Tonight episodes, so all of that is not changing. I hope that makes sense. And it came from me asking people on Twitter a bunch of questions. CGP Grey only makes like 2 videos a year. I'm hoping to do a few more than that. The first video I plan on making, the next Step Back video after the one that's coming out in an hour, I plan on making is a video for December 1st. I really want to get a video out by December 1st. So that's what I'm going to be working on. But this came after a few changes. First is that there was a panel at VidCon this year that showed that the YouTube algorithm, the recommendation algorithm that all YouTubers are unfortunately servants to, is changing its format in a way so that, or has been shifting over time to make videos have a longer tail, which means that it's now more feasible than it was about a year ago to make evergreen content, to make videos that do well for a while and then get shared, like that it can get recommended. Now what happens is when a new video comes out, it shares it with your subscribers for about 2 weeks. The exact numbers aren't really sure, but this period is more for the algorithm to test how well it performs with your audience. And then if it performs well with your audience, it's going to recommend it more algorithmically. And so now videos can have a longer lifespan months after they come out, which means that it's now a better investment for the long-term success of a video to put more effort into it and have it come out as more of an event and have more of that sort of longer time. And I think that overall, this is actually a pretty good thing. I think this is actually really good news, so I'm pretty happy with that. The second reason I'm doing this is because between my job at the CCLA and the sort of burnout that comes with having to push that button and release a video in a week, and then having it reset and then having the next video come out can be really draining on making content that I'm happy with. And on top of that, I think that there's when I see videos like, say, the video about suicide that came out from PhilosophyTube, or basically everything that has been happening on PhilosophyTube since Ollie slowed down his production process, but also like every time a ContraPoints video comes out or anything like that, I notice that I really want to make something that I'm more proud of. And I was planning on making them in the background with these things called big steps, but to be honest, I started one, and after like a month and a half, I had made almost no progress because the time that it takes to make the weekly videos are very stressful and take up a huge percentage of my time in my week. So much so that it was, one, holding up my actual work, but two, it meant that, like, in order to get videos out every week, I wasn't making videos that I was 100% happy with. And I'm not going to be a perfectionist by any chance, but I want to make videos and put them out there that I can be a little bit more proud of. And I think that it will do better for the channel overall. And I know that with Quick Step Around, I'm not going anywhere, so that's good news. Yeah. The other news story that I can say, because it's November 1st now, is that in 26 days, I will no longer be in my 20s. It's November, and my birthday is in November, and so on the 27th, which is going to be a Tuesday, which means I'll have to do a birthday stream, I'll be turning 30, which is, that's a whole thing. Yeah. So that's going to be a thing that's on my mind for the whole time. Yee. Okay, and, oh yeah, one more item before I get into the questions I should also mention. is that this weekend, on Sunday, I'm having a Subscriber Appreciation Day stream. And that Subscriber Appreciation Day stream is going to have as a guest, Shannon Strucci from Strucci Movies. And hopefully we're going to have a really cool conversation about parasocial relationships. And that'll be really fun. It's going to happen on Sunday. It's going to happen at 4 p.m. So 1 hour later than usual because I now teach on Sundays, so I have to race home in time to do this. But yes, I'm really excited to talk to Shannon. She's got some really great videos, and I think you should go check out Strucci Movies. And if you want to know like the kind of context behind the conversation, you should go to not just go to the Strucci Movies channel, but watch her Fake Friends series. I think there's like 3 of them that you can watch. They're really good. Okay, and hello, Michael Collins. How do subscriber appreciation streams work? What those are is that they're kind of like this stream, except that I just bring in people from... I bring in other creators that I'm either friends with or people that I can, get an audience in front of because I am a larger YouTuber. And because I can get these cool people's time for a few hours, I bring them on my stream and we get to talk. I get to talk to them and you guys get to ask them stuff. We've done several of them. They've gone really well. There's a playlist of them. If you go to my channel, you can see a playlist of the Subscriber Appreciation Days. They've been pretty good. We've had ContraPoints. Last one we had was with Ollie from Philosophy Tube. So we'll see how this one goes. I think that I'm pretty excited to go to have Shannon come on. All right. Oh my, so many questions. All right. 255 AD. Are you and Cody getting a divorce? I don't know. I mean, we weren't married, but I kind of know what you're referring to, and that is, are we having like a legit falling out? And I don't know. I don't want to really go into too much detail about what's been going on, but basically, Cody from the Alternate History Hub and I got in a fight on Twitter. And I got really, really pissed, and I sort of withdrew from that for a while, and he hasn't talked to me since, so we'll see how that goes. I know that a lot of you came to my channel through either the collaboration we did last year or through the So That Happened podcast, and you probably want to see it continue, but yeah, I got in a fight. It was about Islamophobia, and he said he used some very dishonest figures to try and paint all Muslims as a certain way, and I got really mad because it was promoting religious bigotry on the day when the shooting at a mosque, or not, sorry, the shooting of a synagogue in Pittsburgh happened, like on that day, and it was just a lot for me, so I kind of snapped. So, yeah, that's worrisome, but I don't want to go too much into it. I feel like that's just dumb YouTube drama if I feed that too much. Yeah. So, Ooga Booga, this... Alright, this stream is a bit earlier than usual. Have your clocks gone back an hour in Canada yet, like in Europe, or is this just an early stream? Yeah, our daylight savings time is a little bit later, so I know that Europe set their clocks back like last weekend, but in North America, it's next weekend. So November 4th is when our daylight savings time happens, so that's how it goes. Pretty easy answer to that question. 255 AD. Apparently, a woman in Austria was charged with blasphemy for publicly calling Muhammad a pedophile. What do you think about that? I have lots of questions about that. First of all, one, that sounds like a not-so-true news story. I would have to do a lot more research to find that out, but that feels very much... yeah, Daylight Savings Time is this weekend. So... yeah. First of all, that this story sounds kind of bullshitty. That does not sound like a thing that any government would enforce, especially Austria. Austria being a fairly right-wing government, fairly nationalist government right now, if I recall correctly. And that is already being, like, you know, borderlining on being Islamophobic in a huge way. And I have my reservations. That sounds like one of those... It sounds like one of those stories that, like, a tabloid newspaper would run in order to make people mad about Muslims. Which is, yeah, the last thing that I am, like, interested in hearing about. Or it is going to be a misrepresenting some sort of news story, like this woman was actually not just saying that Muhammad was a pedophile, but, like, you know, context is key. If you're shouting that in someone's face in front of a mosque while, like, I don't know, holding, like, a weapon or something like that, or disrupting things, it might have been a law. There might have been a reason why she was arrested for such things, but my first instinct is that it is a fake story. My second instinct is that it is, if it isn't a fake story, that something about the way that has been presented feels very, what's it called? Been very misconstrued. Because, yeah, it doesn't make any sense that the Austrian government would use blasphemy laws against an Islamophobic hate crime. Now, if she was a teacher, that would be also bad, because if you said Muhammad was a pedophile in, like, a classroom while you were teaching, yeah, I could see that crossing a line. I don't know if that's a blasphemy line, but that's definitely, like, a hate crime thing. No, Ooga Booga, if the article was fake, they wouldn't choose a country that was mainly Muslim like Saudi Arabia or Indonesia, because the idea of the narrative that the far right's trying to sell is that there are Muslims in your country that are trying to turn it into a theocracy, and they're trying to ruin everything. And, like, that, or they're trying to, like, you know, take over and turn everything into some sort of Sharia law dictatorship, you know? Like, I don't know, like, I guess Cody believes or something. And so, yeah, but, like, that is not a narrative that is true. And so they would run a story like that as some sort of tabloid to look like, look what this... look what these Muslims are doing. They're trying to, like, force their religion on us just because this person called somebody a pedophile. It's like, yeah, jeez. I have reservations, and I can't just stop the stream and do research to find out if this is fake news or if it is a story taken out of context or if it's something that's being used for trying to just vilify Muslims, which is fairly likely. Because lots of parts of that story just don't add up. Especially Austria, which is a country that is fairly close to, like, you know, Donald Trumpian levels of, like, we need to kick all the Muslims out of the country and, like, legalizing anti-Muslim discrimination. Like, Austria is pretty bad at that stuff already. I doubt that they would use legal codes to defend Muhammad. That just doesn't sound right. It sounds like scaremongering. All right. Is that why YouTube is starting to obfuscate dates of video uploads, and instead of saying the video was uploaded on 25th, it says a week ago? I actually don't know why that is. I doubt it has to do with the change to the YouTube algorithm. I think this is just a new state that the machine learning algorithm is starting to settle upon. Let's all right, since everyone's talking about it in the chat, let's actually see where this goes. Let's see. Is there a story that comes from someone who doesn't suck? Jeez. Okay. Okay. Let's see. The Guardian. So... okay. Austrian woman known as ES held seminars on Islam in which she likened Muhammad's marriage to a 6-year-old Aisha to be a pedophilia. She was convicted of disparaging religion in keeping with a history. So this happened almost 10 years ago. Okay. In keeping with a history of supporting blasphemy laws, the ECHR held up the conviction. ES comments as demonstrating Muhammad was not worthy of subject of worship. Okay. So... couple things. One, she's spreading an inaccurate thing about Muhammad's about Aisha's age. That's not something that is determined. That is still something that is up for debate. Settling on the least charitable one, and then also saying that that the thing is made to demonstrate that Muhammad's not a worthy subject to worship. That's really shitty. You have no way to do that. And that the seminars are being promoted by Austria's far-right Freedom Party. Okay. Yeah. That's fun. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay, that is... yeah. That is... not fun. Okay, this is getting off topic, but yeah. So gets protected by okay, so this is like anti-religion stuff, I guess. Okay, let's see. Why did you post a chart without context in the first place? I don't know. Okay. I don't know if... Sirloin of Ice, are you just, like, flat out defending Islamophobia? Because I'm not going to put up with that shit. Okay. So, hi, how are you? Wants to know what I think about Howard Zinn. Howard Zinn's pretty good, but I think that there was like a long conversation about how he does a lot of class reductionism. He does do that. And he did do that. He's dead now. But also, Howard Zinn sort of supports this... Howard Zinn sort of, his book, at least, People's History of the United States, does sort of have this distinct thing, which is that there's like this half of the human population called women that just basically barely exist in the book, which is a little worrisome. And I do think that Howard Zinn, while being a very good eye-opening account, of what happened, I think that it does suffer from a bit of like class reductionism, like kind of like the issues that I have with Zero Books, for example. It's just a position that uses Marxist language to talk about issues that have to deal with the high position of or the sort of Marxist disregarding of issues that have to do with race and gender, and trying to reduce it all to class, which is not like, you're not going to get rid of racism or sexism even if you got rid of class. If you like, capitalism wouldn't necessarily get rid of sexism and racism, and you need to address these things. And so identity politics, in that sense, like, issues to deal with identity and fighting about these things is still important and things we need to discuss, because they are, you know, that's a whole thing. You see it a lot in Marxist-Leninist language, but Howard Zinn's work does sort of, unfortunately, veer in that direction as well. Okay. Hungry Hungarian. Hi, what do you think about the state of Hungary? Hungary's in pretty rough shape. It's run by a right-wing nationalist. It's kind of going the way of Poland in, like, dissolving all of its democratic institutions and turning itself into a fascist dictatorship, and that's not good. I'm really, really dismayed and really depressed by how so many countries are turning into fascist countries in such a quick amount of time. And that's not good. All right. The girl that's been noticed. Hey, Tristan, do you know anything about York University in Toronto? Yes. Oh, there's a cat. There's two cats. If you look, there's Phoebe and then there's Romeo. There are two cats there. And one's licking the other one. Okay, so York University, great school. It's in North York, which is not too far from where I am. It's a pretty good school. Its history program is pretty well regarded. It's known for being a pretty lefty school, but it's also known for not being too up to date. Like, when I was choosing where to do my PhD, York came up. And York, while it was very politically aligned with me and they would have really liked my projects, it did not have very much in the support that I needed for work to do with, like, computer programming and digital history work. So if you want to do a lot of, like, digital stuff, York might not be the best choice, but York is a really great place to do your undergrad. Yeah. I would say that you could do that, no problem. Yeah. So, if girl, it's been noticed, if you're planning on going to York, good choice. Even if it's not for history. But if you want to do a PhD project that involves a lot of machine learning and sort of textual analysis of tens of thousands of documents in a statistical fashion, York might be a bit of a problem. And I also love that. I also do love that York is almost always on strike. They went on strike earlier this year, and they got legislated back to work, and I like that. Ooga Booga. Tristan, what are your opinions on Thanksgiving? Does it unintentionally celebrate genocide, or is it just harmless fun? I'm curious, since I live in a country where Thanksgiving isn't celebrated. Well, Thanksgiving really needs to have its story retold, because Thanksgiving, in the American context anyway, is based on how when the first English settlers came, they did not have the farming techniques or skills to know how to survive the winter, and a lot of them ended up dying. But Powhatan and the indigenous people who lived there helped them out. And the following year, when they actually knew how to plant things, when they had their harvest time, they had a meal in thanks. And then in the long term, they ended up, committing mass genocide. And I think that it's a complicated legacy, and I do think that it's not like Columbus Day in the level of like complicated legacy, but it is something that should be acknowledged every Thanksgiving, at least in America. In Canada, it doesn't really have that kind of connection. Thanksgiving in Canada, which is in October, doesn't really have that much of a context. You ask anybody, even I am not like really 100% sure what the point of Canadian Thanksgiving is. No one really, I don't think anyone really can. So that's, I don't know where to go with it. Maybe we can have Thanksgiving, but just like get rid of the whole story about indigenous people and just have it be about, getting together and having a good time. I want all holidays to be like that. I just want them to have no historical context and not worry about, and not like, celebrate any view of history, and just be about celebrating having a good time with family and friends, because we get far too few of those because everybody's overworked and exhausted. But, the more days off that we can get spending time with family and friends, the happier I would be. And if we have to make up holidays to do that, then so be it. Should we stop with the summer and winter time? I think you mean like daylight savings? Yeah, I think daylight savings hurts more than it helps, but yeah. What kind of music do you listen to? I listen to... Oh, geez. I have a Spotify account that I listen to stuff on, and mostly I think what I listen to is stuff, either like stuff that was popular amongst like punk kids when I was a teenager, or stuff that's like top 40 when I'm an adult. And I'll open Spotify and just choose some random songs and see what comes up, and then you can maybe get an idea, because I feel like I've completely lost a musical identity and having a thing that I'm like very attached to. Oh man, I love this. I decided to change up the way that I do my streams. That's why I was a little bit late at the beginning. And now the delay is so short, it's only like a couple seconds. Yes, I am a leftover... I like Leftover Crack. I only have... I had a friend who was really into Leftover Crack, who I carpooled with when I was in audio engineering school. So I know 2 Leftover Crack songs. I know 3 Leftover Crack songs, and I like them, but I don't really listen to any other ones. But I like those 3. And that is Gang Control, Super Tuesday, and Rock the 40 Ounce. Those are the Leftover Crack songs that I know. I think that those 2... It's because when I was carpooling with this guy, I think it was 2007, and we just listened to the album Fuck World Trade over and over again while we were carpooling. Alright, let's see. So, first is... Okay, we've got A Beautiful Day by U2. Look at Us by Serena Paris. Wherever You Are by Kesha. Okay, I don't know that one. Let's see. Waterfalls from the 90s, yeah. The Bard Song by Blind Guardian. Hallelujah. Mary Lou by Sonata Arctica. Close Every Door from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne. So yeah, it's all over the place. Someone described my musical tastes as like putting all the music in the world in like a blunderbuss and firing it at a wall. Okay. Okay. Oh, Tristan. Sorry, Lil Wayne. I don't have any songs by you on here. Alright, let's, would you feel the same way if someone made bigoted remarks about Christians? Maybe a little bit, but also, bigoted remarks about Christians when Christians are nowhere near treated as shitty in my country as Muslims are is a very different story. Like, talking shit about Christians in a country where Christians are the majority and control the government and are always changing public policy to suit their needs doesn't really... It's a power thing. Like, Muslims are a oppressed minority in the West, and Christians are definitely not. So, unless you're one of those, like, real evangelicals who have... where they're evangelicals who literally do believe that Christians are being oppressed because... you know, they're not mandating prayer in school and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, the idea of being bigoted against Christians, like, it's a thing. I would probably say it's a little shitty and misunderstood. But, like, like, I would not want to promote bigotry against Christians. But also, it's not that big a deal because of, like, yeah, the war on whites or the war on men or something like that. Yeah, it's still, it's not a pressing issue. Yeah, Nightwatch said, you grew up being taught that Christians were being persecuted. My wife is a former evangelical, and she grew up thinking that too. So I know that it's a thing. I don't particularly worry about it that much. I think Christians are just fine right now. If anything, the issue is that Christians are literally doing all of the things that people are afraid Muslims want to do but can't. Like, you know, the fact that in America you're not going to have legal abortion soon. You feel that church and state should be separate. Good for you. I do too. That does not mean that we should treat Muslims like shit. That's my entire thing. That is my entire idea. My entire anti-Islamophobia thing is not to, like, no, we need to, like, impose religious law or Muslim law and stuff like that. Like, no. It's about treating people with, like, you know, human dignity. Jeez. Do you think that raising kids communally, i.e. as might be done in a hunter-gatherer tribe, has many/any advantages over the nuclear family that we're used to in the 21st century West? Yes. You have more people that you can go to. You grow up with more of a community. You have probably a closer relationship with your extended family. The idea that we are so isolated from each other and so like locked in with the nuclear family and with the people moving around for work that, like, yeah, a lot of people feel like they have no roots, they have no connections. And that makes people spend a lot of time on the internet and then go crazy and run people over with their cars on Yonge Street. Like, I think that a lot of the social ills that come up, and the reason why we have the far right, is because people have lost all sense of community and family and, like, you know, the idea that they are part of something bigger than themselves. Now, I don't mean that people should, like, you know, we should go back to, like, you know, we should, like, not we should go back to, like, some sort of old-time thing, but, like, yeah, I think that people in general have this sort of sense of loneliness. If you want, you can read a book called Bowling Alone that actually talks about it a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Your thoughts on Marxist reductionism? I think you mean class reductionism, and I think you guys have already talked about that to death. So, yeah, let's not do that. Do you, alright, do you ever pause and wonder what this period of history is going to be remembered as far as teaching in modern history goes? Yeah, I think there's a few things. I think that this is the last moments of, I think that the last moments, we're in the last moments anyways, of the liberal consensus. I think that this moment in our current moment, our current history, will probably be known as the time when the liberal consensus breaks down, and that the post-World War II established world order kind of just disintegrates. The extended recession and then the recovery that was not a recovery is leading to worker unrest, and the ideas that neoliberalism has been promoting for the last 40 years just are showing to be completely inadequate. Whether that means that we end up with another rise of fascism and a third world war followed by human extinction, or if it means, you know, we finally embrace the socialist ideas and, you know, do away with this this economic model that seems to be bent on self-destruction once and for all. That's up to you guys. Okay. All right. Are you going to stop doing Thursday afternoon streams? No. The Quick Step series that I usually do on Saturdays is going to get moved to Thursdays, and then I'm going to do this for those. So that'll still be around. I am getting a change-up on how things work at the office at work, where I'm actually going to have a computer that can edit video at work. So I have to figure out whether I'm going to stay at home from the office to do the stream, or if I'm going to stream from the office, or if something else is going to happen. But for the moment, I want to keep streams going and get ready for a Thursday Quick Step release. Okay, I am back. Had to handle things. How are you today, Tristan? Well, lover of all souls, I am in pretty good mood. I didn't sleep super great, but, you know, this being the last of the weekly grind of the Step Back series it feels really liberating. And I've got some interesting future prospects that I'm pretty excited for. What are your opinions on Thanksgiving? Does it intentionally celebrate you already asked this. Opinions on the Brazilian election? Well, there goes all my happiness. The Brazilian election, I don't know which things I want to be more sad about. Whether it's the fact that the lungs of the planet are going to get destroyed in the name of burning the last little bit of the world's natural resources left in order to have, satisfy capital. The fact that a person who impeached the previous president of Brazil, dedicating his vote to the man who tortured her, is somebody who's now president of Brazil. That worries me. The openly anti-democratic, to see a democratic country go dark and become fascist, is terrifying. Yeah. It's there's so many things to be completely distraught about when it comes to Brazil. All right, Michael Collins. Are European countries going the way of dictatorships? I don't think it's just European countries. I think it's a lot of the world. There's some good evidence that maybe it's the internet that's causing people to lose faith in democracy. I'm not sure how. I'm sure that is a bit more complicated and has to be discussed a little bit more. It's a way to blame. I think it's a way to blame something that's not capitalism. But yeah, I think that if anything, like every country in the world, but especially in the Western world, are facing a rise of fascist movements. Even Canada is going to have it next year, and yeah, it's really worrisome, and I think it is a result of the fact that capitalism is already capitalism's in its final days, and fascism is the final result of is the end of capitalism. It's the last action of capitalism. So either capitalism's going to have to revamp, and we're going to end up in some sort of, like, you know, weird UBI New Deal type of capitalist world order, or we're going to finally just end this like I said, end this economic model that is basically self-destructive. Capitalism is in itself a inherently, from the two things that it needs to survive, completely not sustainable. And anytime it hits a crisis, fascism has another moment. And we're having another one. What? Why does it say I'm disconnected? Okay. Yeah. So fascism is sort of... Fascism is yeah, it's where we go, and it's the last time this happened there was a world war, so it's pretty concerning. Radical Reviewer, what'd you dress up for Halloween? I didn't. I haven't celebrated Halloween in several years. Not that I don't want to, it's just that the opportunity has not arisen. Waldo, I know colonialism was bad and all, and the Imperial Age was not the best time in our history, but hear me out. Wouldn't it be better if we worked together under one divided like B Empire? What? What's the B Empire? Like, there's a difference between like an imperialism and like some sort of like global government. And some form of global governance would probably be good in this type of day and age, but I would rather no governance. I'd very much be all or nothing in this stage. Like, we either need to get way more organized, or we need to really get rid of top-down organization altogether, which I think would be the better option. Okay. Why are you streaming in the middle of the day? Well, Logan, I do this in the hour before a new Step Back video comes out. I've been doing it every week for almost a year now. Yeah, okay. Hey, Tristan, can you give us your thoughts on the recent election of Jair Bolsonaro and the jailing of Lula da Silva? I think I already did that a little bit. But yeah, super makes me depressed. Suppose a virus killed everyone who doesn't live in uncontacted tribes. Do you think the descendants of humans in those tribes would reinvent capitalism when they reinvent complex technology? No. I think that this is where I'm not really a Marxist. Where, like, Marxism, the people who think that, like, Marxism is, like, a science. It's not. And the idea that, like, capitalism is this natural outgrowth of certain economic conditions, it's something I used to believe, but I'm very much, I'm starting to change my position on this quite a bit. Because, yeah, it really doesn't answer the complexity and the realities of interactions in day-to-day life. And this is where I'm like, oh, right, Marxists and anarchists are different strains of thought, and the idea that, like, Marxism is this science that we're going to end up in this perfect dictatorship of the proletariat, and all we need to do is, like, starve Ukraine and kill millions and millions of people in China, and then we'll solve all of our problems. It's like, yeah, I'm good. And so, yeah, I think that if only uncontacted tribes did not, if a disease killed everyone but them, I think that it's not a given that there would be a capitalism would return. It could be all sorts of things. David K., I think, might be a bit of a tanky, or at least a Marxist-Leninist. In which case, let's all be nice. You have to have solidarity. And then we need to invade Poland for no given reason, and also invade Finland, and then have no tanky ever actually make any actual explanation for why those things happened. They just say that fascism was bad, and then make a bunch of excuses for Stalin and killing massive amounts of people for megalomaniacal takeover of the government means production in something called state capitalism, and not anything even closely resembling what Marx has written about. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I don't know what came over me there. Okay. Okay, let's see. I wouldn't be surprised if you'd forgotten this, but in a stream in May, you said you'd consider listening to the new Gorillaz album. Have you listened to it? And if so, what are your opinions? I have not listened to it. I am sorry. The stream desynced. What does that mean? Okay. Hopefully things are okay. Can everyone hear me and see me okay? Anyways, what can we do to help incels rehabilitate and de-radicalize? I think that people who have fallen down like the path of inceldom have they've internalized. I think that they just need to be disconnected. Like, first of all, we need to stop creating new incels, and I do think that banning them from all of the social media platforms that seems to have been going down has helped quite a bit. But also, incels need to... how would I say this? It very much feels like a cult, and they very much need to be deprogrammed. Or they need to be... in many ways, they're dealing with issues of misplaced anger management issues, depression, social anxiety, and a whole form of psychological illnesses and disabilities that instead of blaming their wrists and killing women, they need to go into, psychotherapy, and we don't have the resources for them to get the psychotherapy that they need because capitalism sucks. And so, yeah, I think that we would need to get them out of their toxic Discord servers and get them to be interacting with real people, especially women. It seems like a lot of people who become incels or who believe in MGTOW type things just haven't talked to women at all. And I think that they should do that a little bit and, understand people. I feel like a lot of the really, antisocial parts of the internet, like the alt-right, like incels and like MGTOWs and like all these people, come from the fact that these are people who are part of this generation that legitimately spends less than 8 hours a week interacting with other people, and that they really need to spend more time dealing with, they need to spend more time with other human beings, not on the internet, not on Discord, but in person, and really having those interactions to see other people's humanity. Because I think that they've spent too much time in these toxic communities and have become solipsistic, and I think that creates this sociopathic mentality. And I really think that we need to be spending more time with other people, not on the internet. I think that the limits of spending time with people on the internet and choosing your community so tight like that leads you to become a little toxic. You need to talk to people, especially talk to people who aren't like you. What can you? Okay. Is the Day of the Dead really an Aztec festival, or is it just All Saints' Day celebrated with Aztec flourishes? I think that it is a mix. I think that it is syncretic. It's not a solemn day to worship the saints. It's a day to honor your ancestors. And I think that does come from its pre-Columbian roots. And that's the topic of the video that's coming out in 90 seconds. Do you have anything done anything for Halloween this year? No, not really. I actually went to a bar last night for Dungeons and Dragons, and they were starting to set up Halloween karaoke, so we left. And we went to my place and finished the session. So, super, super not cool. Any thoughts on Yellow Biafra, the oldest LeftyTube content creator? I don't know. I've never heard of this person ever. Do you think mocking Muhammad should be illegal? Your indecisiveness troubled me a little. No, I don't think it should be illegal, but I also think that, like, calling Muhammad a pedophile and getting paid off by a far-right political party definitely means that you're a dick, and you, definitely not a nice person thing to do. I don't know about those blasphemy laws, but that's a different discussion altogether. Did Canada not end daylight savings time this weekend since it started an hour earlier for me than normal? No, our daylight savings time leap forward is this weekend. For how long will this stream be? This stream has less than a minute left to go. Opinion on Che Guevara, I don't really have a strong one at the moment. I'd have to do a little bit more research. And Yellow Biafra, singer of the Dead Kennedys, political actor for decades. Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. Was the USSR a fascist society? No. I mean, fascism has that sort of toxic nationalism part to it. It was definitely an authoritarian dictatorship that abandoned all of the principles that it was founded upon, basically right away. But as far as saying it's fascist is a bit far. Have you seen the Death of Stalin? No, sadly, no. All right, everybody, here is the new video. It is live, and you guys have been great. Have an amazing week. I will see you guys on Saturday for the new Quick Step, and then on Sunday we get Subscribe Appreciation Day. So I hope you guys have a lot of fun with all those things. Have a good one.